Hi, my name is Ryan Christie, and today I'll be discussing the topic that I spent my past couple weeks on, which of course is the agricultural movements throughout the past and farming changes throughout the past. To start off, just a recap on what the agricultural revolution was. Essentially, what it was is an increase in agricultural production in Britain between the mid 17th and late 19th century. You might think to yourself that seems really long, and yes, that is why historians to this day continue to see it as is this a revolution since the growth was so long, but that just shows you how much more significant it really was and how it still is going to this day. Types of tools that were used at the time they really ranged from just the short simple gardening hoe as you see in the bottom right corner to things like the dabbler and the thresher. A thresher machine was something that made sure, particularly for corn, to make sure seeds did not get stuck in stalks and husks, make sure that the corn was nice. And that leads me to my next topic, which is planting and cultivating. Corn was probably, if not the highest produced uh, crop at the time, and to this day still is a very highly uh, anticipated crop. And that's why it was so important. As you see on my screen, this is an example of a thresher being pulled by a horse, as you see. Um, in there, the husks are getting all seeded and making sure that everything's okay and all the corn is gonna be nice. Um, right here we have the enclosures and the Enclosure Act. Essentially, as you see right here in the bottom left, an enclosure is a piece of land dividing two other pieces of land, and you know, an enclosure, as you see, it was like a pretty big piece of land. I mean, farmers benefited from it so much, so it was a pretty big thing. Um, it's most of the enclosures were found in Western Europe of different types of fields, pastures, and lands of that nature. Um, but the Enclosure Act was to make sure, they essentially the United Kingdom was saying, oh well, can everyone get enclosures? Like, who define who can have an enclosure? So it was a pretty big thing, as you can see. And I mean, because they didn't want just anyone having an enclosure, but yet they thought they were a really good thing for farming and agriculture. So it was a pretty big thing at the time. That takes us to notable names of early agriculture. The first name that I researched was Jethro Till and his revolutionary invention of the seed drill, as you see right here. It was in this picture. It was man used, but it quickly adapted to become pulled by a horse. And the reason that this is so revolutionary is because it could plant seeds like no other human or tool ever could before, made production of plants way faster, and could get things done way faster. Another notable name that I researched was Robert Bakewell. Um, was talked about how if they just put their mind to it, they could have at the time, all of Britain and nearly all of the world um, agriculturalized. And if we kept going and we just kept investigating on new ways to get stuff done, we could be more efficient than ever before and to continue re-advancing and keep advancing in agriculture and industrializing in agriculture. Um, some of the ways that early agriculture has affected us today is, as you see here, we have the first seed drill and the modern seed drill. You can see many similarities here, and to this day, the seed drill may be the most used product besides a basic tractor that helps for farming. I mean, as you see, there's similarities where the seeds go in, how it gets produced. Obviously, the modern seed drill is way bigger and lays down more seeds, but you can see those similarities. And nowadays, many of the machinery is powered by gas or electricities, but I mean, horses were just as efficient at the time, and I mean, now we just continue to industrialize it, and now agriculture is better than it ever has been before.